Hello. Cheers. Welcome to this Sunday lazy chat. Today it's actually a Saturday evening. I've just got back from doing escape rooms and thought I've got to have a pint. And this is the Harvest Pale. I can't really call it Harvest Pale Ale because really I suppose I should call it Harvest IPA. Came out 6.2%. I'll tell you why in a minute. Just going to get... It's nice hazy colour at the minute. I mean, it's only been on keg since yesterday, so I'll just have a taste of it. It's a nice beer. It's a very nice beer. But let's discuss it. So, how did it end up at 6.2%? Because I'm stupid, mainly. So where are we? Harvest Pale Ale. So when I was putting the grain bill together, I tend to weigh it in a big tub and then pour it into... I have like a big tub with a lid on that I put all my grains in for when I'm going to do. I always prep the night before, or day before, even a couple of days before. So I'd put in my 3.7 kilos of lager malt, and I've got some nice Weyman Pilsner, so I thought I'd use that, so that went in. And then there's the Vienna malt, 200 grams. Now I misread it and read 2 kilos. So I'm 1.8 kilos of Vienna over. Now, I'd already put the lager malt in, and then I poured the Vienna malt on top before I realised my error. So it was all in the same tub, and there was no way for me to differentiate between the two and scoop out 1.8 kilos of it. I could have taken out 1.8 kilos of something, but I wouldn't know what. So I went with it as 2 kilos. I changed it in the grain father when I put the recipe in. Yeah, and then it's the 200 grams of crystal wheat malt, which I got, and that was fine. Oh yeah, and then we get the rest of my stupidity. When it came to the actual day of making it, during the boil, well, initially I got distracted after doing the sparge and it was coming up to boil. I left the grain father lifted with the grains and still pouring in, and I got distracted and went off inside. I started looking for external hard drives on eBay, just got completely distracted. Came out, it boiled, and when I finally remembered, I got outside, it had boiled over. We got to the boil, and we'd had a boil over, so I got the basket off, cleaned up a bit, and started the boil. All well and good. The Magnum went in at the start of boil for, I know it's 39.3 IBUs. I think it was about 39 IBUs I got with that. I did alter the IBUs a little. I think I ended up with 45 IBUs in total, with I think it was a Buku rating of about 0.7 to 7.5, I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah, and then it came to the 10-minute edition of Willamette, which was supposed to get me 1.8 IBU. I know it's not a lot, but I was also distracted again and missed the 10 minutes and got it in at 3 minutes. So, kind of screwed that up. So what I then did, because then you have the Cascade going in turn off. So normally I do that as at 75 Whirlpool edition at 75C. So I put that straight in and then dropped the temperature from there. And it took about 3 minutes, because I normally do a Whirlpool for 20 minutes. It took me 3 minutes to get it back down to 75. So from, I think it was about 96 or 7 straight after turn off by the time I got in here, got the hops, gone back out to the, once I decided what I was going to do, you know. So it dropped down to about, because the initial like temperature drop goes like that, isn't it? And then slowly smooth out. Yeah, so I did that, and so that's just me. I had just one of those days where I just was distracted trying to do too many things at once, as well as the brew day, and this is the result. And I won't go into that it's probably the greatest beer I've ever made, because it isn't. It ain't by a long shot. but it's nice. But it means I now have to brew the Harvest Pale again and try and get a Harvest Pale and do the damn fucking job properly. Because this is I can see where it's aiming for and see what it's supposed to be like, but this isn't how it should be, obviously, for obvious reasons. What I will say is the Vienna just plays right through it. So that shouldn't occur in the Harvest Pale. So if I try and drop out the Vienna in my thoughts a bit, it's quite a clean bill, a clean malt bill, and obviously using US-05, which is clean. And for all it says, this is the bit that confused me in the whole recipe, and with what it actually plays out. This delightful pale ale celebrates the autumn grain harvest and heralds the change of seasons. How does it celebrate the autumn grain harvest? You've got lager malt, Vienna, and crystal wheat malt. You get a bit of wheatiness, a real slight touch of that, a bit of crystally with it. But then the lager malt's pretty clean, and the Vienna malt at 200 grams should be reasonably clean. So you're not really getting, you shouldn't really be getting much of a malt bill at all. But you are getting quite a clean hop flavour with it. Now, you do get a bit of a... Now, I didn't know which Cascade. I went with the US Cascade. So, you get quite a little bit of a citrus finish. And then for this, you get a lot of Vienna coming back afterwards. I mean, it's a very nice beer. There is a little bit of bitterness to it at the back end, but at 6.2%, it helps carry you on to drink more. You really can't tell it's 6.2, obviously. Well, it's not obvious at all, because you wouldn't know, would you? But for me, I'm saying it's really covering the 6.2% well. Yeah, it's really nice beer, and I think if I did the Harvest Pale itself, it would be really nice beer. Well, saying that, I'd be interested to compare the two, to be honest. So this is supposedly the Harvest Pale, and I will say I will definitely brew the Harvest Pale, have another crack, and try and actually not be a dick doing it, and wake up a bit more and concentrate more, rather than trying to do 1,000 things at once and doing all of them badly. Yeah, there's a back end bitterness with this, you see, and it does play through. Now, whether that's part of the actual real bitterness that's meant to be in there, or whether it's because I upped it slightly because of the IBU, pardon me, sorry, upped the IBU because of the ABV, pardon me, it's well carved anyway, yeah, I can tell you that. And it does stick around, you get a nice lacing with it. That I have to say is good. That I'm assuming is the crystal wheat. I've never used crystal wheat before. It's good. It does the job of two. I might keep using crystal wheat instead of just wheat malt and crystal malt. Obviously you don't need as much, I think, to get the flavour of crystal, to get the colour in with the crystal, and to get the lacing. Although this probably could be 2 kilos of Vienna malt as well. I'm not sure. More than likely probably the Vienna malt, to be honest. Now I did do an all Vienna Kolsch, what I would call a Kolsch, using a US-05, and that was with Citra, and it was very reminiscent. It didn't have the high bitterness of this, but it certainly has that smooth Vienna feel with the hop. Yeah, I have to say, doing what I did, it's very different to the beers I normally produce. Now, I read something yesterday, day before, I think it was, in a book, and it was about cooking. Oh, it was on, I know what it was. It was on Lifestyle, Guardian Lifestyle on a Saturday morning. That's today, isn't it? Was it this morning? Maybe it is. Maybe it was this morning. In bed, I was reading. I like to try and check out all the restaurant reviews and odd cooking bits and pieces. It might actually been last week. Anyway, what it was talking about cookbooks, etc., and how people may start with a recipe on a cookbook, and eventually it turns into everything else they cook. How everything anybody cooks, eventually, no matter how often they try and change it up, mix it up and do things, eventually every recipe tastes like their food, so to speak. So it has their signature. And that, I think, is true about brewing as well. That every beer I make is like my beer, is my kind of beer, the beer I make. And they all seem to have this. Obviously, you got the terroir thing with the water, etc. I mean, I don't change it up as much as I should with salts and that, and I certainly don't use raw water. I maybe should. That's maybe another project for another day at some point to get on to doing raw, but not yet. Yeah, so my point is that I think every beer I make tends towards having a similarity of flavour that are similar to doing the recipes and cooking, and they all eventually taste the same. My beers eventually all taste the same way, so to speak. There's something about, that identifier that identifies them as that person. Same as you get with a brewery. Certain breweries, you'll know their beers have a certain character to them, and the point being that this isn't, because I've completely screwed up the recipe and everything else. Which is nothing like anything I've normally brewed, which I suppose is a good thing. It's the difference. It's very sinkable, I'll be honest. Now, what's coming next? Well, I'm all set to brew again tomorrow morning. Hence why I'm not doing the video tomorrow, because I'm brewing tomorrow morning, and that's going to take up a fair bit of the morning. And then, because I've been at work today, it'd be nice to have some family time. So I don't want to be sat drinking in the afternoon as early as that, and doing the video, because I'd just screw up the day, really. Certainly for the missus, it'd be brilliant for me, I know, but there we go. I have to do things with the family and that now and then, I suppose. So I'm doing this video tonight because, yes, I'm brewing tomorrow morning, and it's just going to be straight old vacant gesture, but using Citra. I was going to mix it up, I know I'd said, and I got, pardon me, I did get out some Idaho 7 to go with it, and then I was going to put some Galaxy in as well and see what I got. But I got a packet of 99 gram. I had a 99 gram packet of Citra. When I'd measured out all my Citra the other day, I had 99 grams. And then when I checked the alpha acids for the recipe, for the initial hop stand and stuff. Was it the hop stand? I don't know. You just worked out that it was just going to use that 99 gram bag, and I was like, well, that's perfect. I'll just use that. The Challenger was fine. I still had the Challenger and opened that, put the bit in for the bitter in, and then the hop stand, and then the 2 dry hops. I had just exactly enough to do all 3 of those. I didn't need to add anything else for it to be what I do for vacant gesture, really, but using Citra. So I thought, well, I do like the Citra one. I really, really enjoyed the Citra and Galaxy. I had some depth to it, and it was really nice. Certainly by the end, it was getting really tasty. The mix, the blending of the flavours. God, that was a long-winded bit, wasn't it? Cheers. Glass number 2. By now, I'm starting to feel it. I can feel it starting to leaden the limbs a touch. But it's good. That bitterness is working nicely for, you know, like the old Westies used to get you hit at the back end with that almost astringent but not really bitterness, and then make you want another drink. Yeah, this has got that. Just a touch, just enough to keep you going. So I'm putting it down for a second. So, brewing aside, what have we been doing? Well, I joined Mastodon. I don't know if many of you have. I've been watching the Twitter. I've been on Twitter a lot of late. Not posting. I don't really post on Twitter, but I have been started doom scrolling. I know it's bad. Everything was just so depressing and etc. And then people started leaving and saying about, because of Elon Musk obviously, people started mentioning Mastodon. So I thought, sod it, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go on Mastodon and see what it's like. And boom, fucking Nerdsville, absolute Nerdsville, and I'm in heaven with it. I've been replying to writers for Star Trek today. I've been messaging Neil Gaiman. I mean, I know Neil Gaiman was already on Twitter, and he probably would reply if I messaged him there. But it just seems Mastodon. I'm asking about coffee beans. I got a coffee making machine, one of those. What do you call it? Oh, you know, there's a specific brand anyway. They do a coffee machine, proper coffee machine thing where you chuck the beans in the top, you got the water at the back, and you press the button, it'll do espresso or americano. Then you fit another milk thing to it, and it'll do you a cappuccino. And it's full beans, or you can put ground if you want it into it, but I tend to go with the full beans. And I really don't know much about coffee, so I'm on there asking anyone. I've got like 13 people that follow me. That's it. So I put a tweet out there. A tweet. No, they're not called a tweet. They're called a toot, by the way, because it's a Mastodon and it toots. Woo, a toot. Yeah, sorry. So I put it out there. Any ideas on coffee beans? I've been trying a few, and I'm just trying to find my way, and I'm not really sure. Bang, bang, bang. I'm getting replies, getting left, right, and centre, suggestions, places to go, sites to use, and it's just like brilliant, fantastic. What else have I been talking about? Comic books, things. Just getting. It just feels nice. It's like social media should be, you know, like people just be nice and sociable and enjoying each other's company and finding new shit out, just stuff like that. And so I'm on Mastodon. If you go on Mastodon, if you want to add me, please do so, and I will follow you too. I'm back to my old initial name for my YouTube channel, which is 99 Ulysses 99, and I am on, because each server is different, you see. If you're on a server and you search for a specific name and somebody else is on a different server, you won't find them unless you put, say, so you search for 99 Ulysses 99 at mastodonapp.uk, and that's the server I'm on. You can they do federalize it, as they call it, which just means like the USA. I mean, each server's considered like Texas, California, Florida, Idaho, Wyoming, all that. I notice I'm going all over with my hands, and it's nowhere near where those countries are. So I don't mean to be saying those states are. I'm not trying to point out where states are, by the way. Yeah, so it's a federalized group of servers that come together. So you have your local server. What you have in your view is you have the people you follow. Then there's the server itself that you're on. Will show the people that are on that server, and then after that is the federalized server. It's just everybody. But to see more, you have to start by introducing yourself. Put an introduction, hashtag introduction. Hashtags are important. Use hashtag introduction. Put some hashtags in there of things of your interests. Then they'll start to show more people on your federalised server of their interests that are similar to yours, etc. And it'll start matching like that, and go from there. It's brilliant. I'm really enjoying it, I have to say. So, and that's that. Fantasy football wise, it's been a bit of a dog's bollocks for me today. I had to get rid of Son because Son had a facial injury, didn't he? So I got rid of Son, and who did I bring in? I was wanting to bring. Wow, who did I bring? Oh, brought in. Did I bring in Foden for Son? I don't think I did. I think I did. No, I did. I brought Foden in for Son, so that was a good one. That was last week's. And he did nothing last week. He didn't even play. He wasn't even on the bench. So this week I dropped. I dropped a defender for Spurs. I think Perisic. I think I dropped Perisic this week. I'm putting Trent Alexander-Arnold, thinking he's got to have a good game. He's got to start putting some assists in. Against Southampton, he should be banging the ball in left, right and centre. Yeah, that didn't go so well, did it? It all came from the other side. It was Robertson. So Robertson got all the points for me there. Well, he didn't get any for me because he got it for everybody else. There appears to be a face at the window. I better stop and pause a minute. Right, sorry about that. That was my wife to tell me she was off to the shops. Right. Where was I? Yeah, the fantasy football. Not been going so well at all. Foden did alright though. Haaland was captain, who got a yellow card, and that's about all he did, wasn't it? Fucking useless. But they got beat by Brentford. That must have really made Arsenal fans cheer, I imagine, quite loudly. Spurs had a 4-3 fight. Oh yeah, that's a bit annoyed me as well. Tony got both goals for Brentford, and I dropped Tony the other week for Callum Wilson. And Callum's still not sure if he's going to be playing, so he fucking better start and better bang some bloody goals in for me. That's all I can say about that. I haven't got Kane. I think he got one, and yeah, it hasn't been a good week so far as fantasy football goes. Let's just say that. Anything else really to talk about? No, not really. I mean, I haven't watched anyone's videos for a while. I just haven't had the time, to be honest. I've been struggling trying to sort my server out. Here we go. I've got something to talk about, my server. So, as it stands, I have a PC. Just a game. It was a gaming PC with an SSD just for the operating system. Then a hard drive, decent hard drive for games, etc. But well, it's getting a bit past it now, really. I mean, it's running 4K games at about 30 frames per second, so it's getting a bit tired. So I made it into a server now with, well, it's not now, I did this a while back, but I've got rid of all the gaming off it and just using it as a server for media. So I have now also, well, I've extended it a little bit, because I was looking at, as I said last week, I was looking at external hard drives. I now have about 22 terabytes of external hard drive storage for my MB server. Now, I don't know if you know MB. It's a bit like, it's similar to Plex. I went with MB. It just worked better for me, and I got used to it now. I've got a paid the full lifetime thing, so it's mine. I have the MB server and everything that goes with it for life, or the lifetime of the company at least, and the server. And I also run Ubiquity as well as a server for comics and books, because MB doesn't do comics and books. I don't know if Plex does. I'd be interested to know. Anyone know? Because I don't use Plex. I can't really get my head around Plex. I'm really happy with MB, but I really can't get my head around Plex. I really wish MB would start doing comics and EPUBs and that. Apparently they do books, but they don't do comics with CBZ, CBR and all that format. But I do love my comics, and I have on so far on Ubiquity, on my server on that part is about 22,000 comics. There's a few in it, really. Enough to keep me going, at least. I do like my comics. I do love graphic art and comics, and I always did since a kid. Anyway, so I've been struggling to get some certain piece, and I don't know what's wrong. I've got certain books. I bought a disc on the other day with the Beezer annuals. I do have a big thing for English annuals, in English comics in general. Really, that's my main collection love. I mean, I have a big collection of actual annuals, physical annuals, mainly Dandy and Beano, starting from the 50s up. Well, my Dandy collection is a full collection from about 58 through to 2000, which, well, a lot of that I got personally as a kid, and as a joke, my mother kept giving me that until about the year 2000, and then we said, like, just stop it, because they're a bit shit these days. You know, for Christmas it was always like, I always got a Dandy annual. Anyway, point is, so I've got this server that runs MB, and that's brilliant. That has all my 4K movies, 3D movies, normal movies, beer movies, beer TV series, that's all on there, and that constitutes about, at the minute, I'd say about 14 terabytes worth of storage. Then I have audiobooks as well, because I do listen to a lot of audiobooks, because I don't have time to read these days. I mean, if you've got kids, you know what I mean. With the 6-year-old, it's a nightmare. That's not a nightmare, it's just you don't have the opportunity to sit down and read a book. Well, I certainly don't. Plus my eyesight's not as good as it used to be. So I don't read as much as I used to, but I do like books still. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and my work, normal day-to-day work, the antiques stuff and the packing of the selling of stuff, I spend a lot of time in the warehouse alone, basically. So audiobooks are brilliant. It's brilliant for me for that. I can just spend 8 hours in the warehouse on my own, doing the work I need to do, get things done, get things packed, sent, making stuff and all that. I can do all that just with the audiobooks on. So I have a large collection of audiobooks as well. That's about 320 gigabytes of just audiobooks. I mean, audiobooks aren't that big, so 320 gigabytes is quite a lot of audiobooks. And for that, I will admit, I used to use Audible, but it's quite expensive. You get the one for £8, you get your one book a month audiobook, and it's great, yeah. But I have to admit, I'm a bit naughty, and I use myAnonymous.net, which is one of those private servers that has audiobooks and ebooks and bits and pieces. And so I use that a bit. But I still buy stuff as well. But I still use that as well. So I have quite a lot. Yeah. And where was I? God, we're down to there on the second glass. I'm starting to lose my thread. Completely losing my thread here. Where was I? The audio, but you'll probably, if you've actually been bothering to listen to me, you're probably going, what are you fucking talking about? Anyway, the server. So I've had to buy the external hard drives. I now have I think there's 3 external hard drives. One's a 10 terabyte, one's an 8 terabyte, and one's a 4 terabyte. And that's what I'm using. Plus, I have the books and comics that I use. There's a lot of AD&D stuff as well. That's on my... see? Pardon me. Now you're starting to understand why I'm on Mastodon and talking about Nerdville. There's my D&D stuff. All my D&D stuff and AD&D, D&D is all on my Ubiquity server. It's a server that works, but it's not working properly at the minute, which is what I was trying to get to. The Ubiquity server is not working for the Beezer annuals between 1972 and 1978. For some reason, I have the 1972 annual anyway, physically, and I'd like to, because what I do is everything's on the server, and then I use something called Kubu, which is a outdated thing as well, but it works nice with Ubiquity for Android, and I can then sit with my tablet. I used to sit outside in the summer and that, and just read comics on the evening, just flicking the pages. At tablet size, it's brilliant. It's almost comic size. It doesn't feel the same as a comic, I know, but it feels enough light for me to enjoy. And obviously I can just stretch it and that to see it, be able to read it better if it's not working so well, sort of thing. But it's not working with that, so I've been trying to find other solutions that will show what I want. And I thought I had with something called Clavier, I think it's called, and using the Clavier server on my computer, but it's specifically designed for manga. And so instead of the folders that everything was organised in, it tries to reorganise everything in using its own idea of what a series is, and it's completely fucked all my stuff up. Not through Ubiquity, everything's still fine. Everything's still fine actually on the hard drives. It's just its library is just way fucked up. And plus I can't look at it outside of my PC, which is on the big screen TV. Trying to read a comic or a book on a big fucking 4K TV isn't fucking working, is it? So anyway, I'm trying to work that out. That's where I've been spending a lot of my febrile energies on of the last couple of days. Yeah, so we're at half an hour of just this, I think, and I'm not sure whether... I'm looking at the timer on the phone, and I'm not sure whether the pause is included, in which case this could be 45 minutes now, couldn't it? I wanted my nearly finished the second beer. You're absolutely bored fuckless, I know. But this is my Saturday night. This is as good as it gets for me on a Saturday night these days. Way, talking shit to a camera in a shed on my own, drinking beer. And that would be really sad if it wasn't for the fact I am enjoying myself and I'm pissed. Nearly now, already. 2 pints. Well, not even pints, are they? 2/3. It's about 2/3. Which is 4/3, pint and a third. I have another, and because I've been at work today and the wife hasn't, she's cooking tea. Way! A win-win evening for me. Yeah, so the server thing, I really don't know what to do about that. I'm really struggling to find a solution where the comics and the comic annuals will work fully, because I can't get these Beezer annuals to work, and I've bought them. I've actually bought some annuals there. I can't get them to work fully, and it's really annoying. The thing is, it's not showing up for when I want to just read. If I want to download them, it lets me download them, and then I can read them. And yes, that's a solution, but it bugs the fucking ass off me. I don't like things like that. You know, I mean, workarounds, yeah. At work, we have a big machine for making polypropylene plastics, and I run it. I work on it. If it's not working, I'll fix it and stuff and shit like that. And me. And then the company that sold it to us, their chief engineer and the sales guy and a few other people came to look at it, because it's the first one in the UK that's come from Taiwan, this company in Taiwan. It's the first they'd ever built to make these proper polypropylene sleeves that we also do. And we were going through it, and I was showing all to these delegates and that, and these people that were looking to buy one themselves and go get to Taiwan. And the engineer and that was talking to me, and he was like, "Do you know what? It's the first time I've seen a machine that isn't got these. It's actually running as it should be, without these bits of wood or tape here and there doing things because it makes it work." And I was like, "No, because that annoys me. I have to have it working as it's supposed to, and as it did when it first came, rather than." Sorry, I just hear some kids screaming running down the street. I wonder what the hell's going on then. Yeah. Can you hear him? First I thought it was terrified, but it weren't. But it annoys me if I have to add bits and patch and stuff. I'd be a terrible software engineer, I know. Having to patch things. If it's not right in the first fucking place, redo it. That would be me, rather than the idea of software patching. Anyway, right. You're bored, fuckless. I'm getting tedious. So I'll say good night, good evening, good afternoon, whichever you are at. And if you've actually managed to be bothered to watch this far, thank you. Yeah. I don't expect it, to be honest, but there you go. So cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.